Hello and welcome. My name is Dr. Stephen Stokes. I own Advanced Pain Solutions in Southwest Florida. I've been in practice for over 18 years. And today I'm going to talk about multiple sclerosis. By the way, people think I prepare for these lectures, that they're a big deal for preparation, a lot of rehearsing and stuff. I literally take my clinical notepad, I open it up, and I just decide on a topic, and then I just look at my notes. So today I'm looking at multiple sclerosis. There it is. There's my notepad. And I'm just going to talk a bit about it. I want to let you know what I would do if I was diagnosed with MS today. I wouldn't panic, first of all. A lot of people freak out. They think that it's a death sentence. They think they're going to be in a wheelchair. It is a progressive disease, but it's also very common. Last year, about 400,000 people were diagnosed with MS. And MS means a lot of different things because it involves a lot of different elements. So, a couple of interesting facts. In about 1891, there was a French physician whose name was Pierre Marie, and he stated in his notes that he thought that MS was caused by an infection. And that is interesting. So the other thing is that since then, we know that there are like more than 16 different agents involved, infectious agents involved with MS. But there is a 100% correlation between a bacteria called chlamydia, pneumonia, and multiple sclerosis. Now think about that. 100% of the cases that are diagnosed with MS also have an infection with chlamydia, pneumonia. Now this is different than chlamydia, the venereal disease. But still, this is a bacterial infection that's present in 100% of the cases of MS. So if I was told I had MS, the first thing I would do is I would test for chlamydia, pneumonia, and I would eradicate that bacteria. I would probably go the medical route and see a medical doctor and get some strong drugs to kill that bacteria. Now, if I was early on in the disease and I had time and I wasn't as farther along in symptomatology, I may go the natural route. I may opt for something like garlic forte to try and eradicate the infection. But I think that if I was diagnosed with MS, I would go the medical route, get some strong, ugly, killing drugs, and destroy that bacteria quickly. And then I'd worry about dealing with the side effects of the drug afterwards. But first, I'd want to kill that bacteria. The next thing that I'd want to do is I want to have a look at my gut bacteria. If you look at MRI scans of MS patients and compare them to MRI brain scans of patients with bowel inflammation, you cannot tell the difference between the scans. So that means that the mechanisms of bowel inflammation and multiple sclerosis have to be similar, okay? So we definitely want to check our gut bacteria. We want to look for dysbiosis. We want to look for leaky gut. We want to make sure that the gut flora is balanced. And if it's not, we want to take care of that. And the way to take care of that is to test it. You can do a stool test that's available from Standard Process. All of the links to these tests are on my website, drstephenstokes.com, where you can order them with a patient direct account. They're very inexpensive, and you can get these results directly to your door without going anywhere, without going to a doctor. Very affordable. I would get a stool test. I would have a look at my stool profile, and if it was off, I would do what they call the weed and feed. So I would go through a period where I would, first of all, try to kill the bad overgrowth if it was there. I would use garlic forte for that, and then I would substitute with human oleosaccharides, HMOs, and I would feed the good bacteria. And I would do a few days of killing and then a few days of growing the good stuff, killing, growing, and I would cycle that until I balanced out my gut bacteria. I think it's much better to feed the existing flora that are there with something like HMOs, human milk oleosaccharides. I did a whole video on HMOs. This is going to give you the best results in repopulating healthy gut flora. Taking probiotics doesn't always work. A lot of times the probiotics you ingest, your body doesn't like them and they attack them. And it creates all sorts of problems as they all jockey for position in your colon. So HMOs are the way to go for sure to repopulate that colon flora. Another important thing to talk about is inflammation. Of course, inflammation is a constant with most disease. MS is no different. So I would want to get my inflammation under control. I would regularly take a good anti-inflammatory like Boswellia complex, which has, again, we've talked about this. It has turmeric, it has ginger, it has Boswellia, And I would take that and ingest that throughout the day to keep my inflammatory levels low. We don't want to increase inflammation. That's going to make all our symptoms a lot worse. We know that MS has a autoimmune element where the immune system gets out of whack and starts to attack your own tissue, your own nerve tissue. I would look at ingesting something like Echinacea Premium Liquid from MetaHerb. I like Echinacea because it's a modulator. So there are other things I can take which are going to stimulate the immune system and, jack it up. For example, if I knew that I just caught a disease that involves if I knew that I just got a virus, we'll say, if I just got a viral infection and I wanted to step up my immune system, then there's something else I would take. But if I want to balance the immune system, Echinacea is perfect, right? Because Echinacea is a modulator. So if my immune system is slightly low, it'll bring it up. If it's too high and overactive, it'll bring it down. And I found that Echinacea is like a miracle herb, but it has to be taken in a specific type of quality. The only product I've ever found available that provides that is the Echinacea from MetaHerb. I like the liquid. I would take 5 milliliters a day of that, and you take a shot of it. It tastes horrible, but it works really good. You'll know it's effective because as soon as you take it in your mouth, your whole tongue, your mouth, and everything will tingle as a result of the active constituents of that herb, of that herbal tonic. So I would take Echinacea, and then I would really work on healing my brain and healing those nerve cells. And how I would do that is I would take Ginkgo Forte for sure, because that's going to increase microcirculation to brain tissue and nerve tissue. I would take Gotu Kola, which is a great herb that's going to actually promote the growth of vascularization, create a angiogenesis effect in the body where the body's going to grow new branches of existing blood vessels into those nerves and into those nerve tissues, which is amazing. We want to promote that. Then I would look strongly at taking a product called Neurotrophin from Standard Process. And Neurotrophin is a protomorphogen, which I did a video on earlier. This is going to act as a decoy so that the immune system is going to attack the protomorphogen and leave your own tissue alone. So you take this protomorphogen called Neurotrophin, you take it in your body at night when you go to sleep, and it goes in and circulates into the bloodstream, and your immune system attacks those proteins that are basically from cattle, from cow, from bovine. They will attack those proteins and not attack your own tissues. So it's a decoy. It gives a window of healing, and it allows everything to gives everything a little break. So definitely I would take Neurotrophin. Finally, we know for sure that in these conditions, we need to make sure that our omega-3 fatty acids are balanced, that everything is good as far as that goes, because we have to have the proper fats to build that myelin tissue around the nerves that's broken down. I would take a product called Super EFF, and Super EFF is going to provide me with the essential fatty acids that I need to make sure that I'm not deficient and that I can build healthy nerve tissue. And most people can't. Most people have a really bad omega index. If you want to check your omega index, you can do a test for like $50 or something like that through Standard Process. You just prick your finger, you put some blood on a card, send it in. They'll give you an omega index. If you are a carnivore diet proponent, if you eat a lot of proteins, you probably have a bad omega index. So it's something to look into, right? And if it comes back poor, you need to supplement with omega-3 fatty acids. So you want to balance that out. If you have MS, you likely already have a poor omega index. So I would just, again, begin to supplementing with that. Of course, you can take different types of fish oils and things like this. Some people are allergic to those. I like Super EFF or calamari oil, which I've talked about many other times as the best supplement for balancing out my essential fatty acids. Stress is a major. So nothing accelerates multiple sclerosis progression like stress. If you are in a stressful relationship, if you're in a stressful environment, if you're in a stressful work environment, if you're under stress, man, you have to stop it. You have to stop your stress. You have to change jobs or quit your job. You have to get out of the relationship you're in or modify it. You must get your stress down. The best way I find that you can regulate stress is by checking your heart rate variability. You can do that a couple of times a day. There are heart rate variability apps available at the App Store for your iPhone or whatever, and or your Android phone. Inexpensive way to check heart rate variability. I've been involved with heart rate variability for maybe 10 or 15 years through the Heart Math Institute. I use it in my own personal life all the time. And it's a great way where you can judge objectively if you're under stress or not, if your autonomic nervous system is balanced or if it's in sympathetic fight-flight mode. Because sometimes you feel great. Oh, I feel so great. I'm so hyper. I'm so active. And you check your heart rate variability and it's very poor. So you're mistaking the way you're feeling for the stress. You're actually under stress. Other times maybe you feel lazy and you're thinking, oh, I don't think that I'm doing very good today. But you check your heart rate variability and it's high. And you know, in fact, that you're doing well. And you can get off your butt. You can go work out. As far as what kind of diet that I would eat, honestly, it varies. The old school ideology was that you wanted to be a vegetarian if you have MS. I don't think that that holds anymore. I think that a lot of the popular neurologists, the celebrity neurologists like David Perlmutter, he used to write about a vegetarian diet for MS. I don't think he's a proponent to that anymore. I think that we want to make sure we get lots of healthy fats, lots of good grass-fed, grass-finished proteins. However, be wary that saturated fats, a lot of studies show saturated fats will accelerate the progression of MS. So there's debate on that, and it's up to you to experiment and decide what you're going to do with your own health. I know that Dr. Walls has had some really positive results with her diet. I would look into that. I would look into a variety of different diets and find something that you can do that does not involve stress. If your diet is creating stress, then don't do it. Again, more dangerous than any diet is stress. So if you have MS and you are on a strict diet for MS and you find that that is causing you a lot of stress in your life, okay, you're better to eat less restrictively and not have the stress. Stress is the killer, number one. I just want to leave you with that. So get rid of the stress, look into some of these supplements, reach out to me if you'd like some further assistance or some other ideas. I have a lot of experience with MS. I have helped lots of patients clinically that have been diagnosed with MS, and I'm pretty sure that this advice I'm giving here is the advice that I gave them. And you may be able to get some good points out of this, and this may be able to help you. Please subscribe to the channel. If you enjoy these types of videos, give me a thumbs up and reach out in the comments or on my website if you have any questions. Thank you very much, and we'll talk again soon. Bye-bye.